my question is with Nico, did you see anything out of him in the Chattanooga game? Because we have to take into account the opponent that took you aback, surprised you, that you took note of. I just kind of want your general thoughts on his game. This is the first opportunity I've had to talk to you.
Well, nothing really surprised me because I had such high expectations for him. However, things I noted, uh, his repertoire of passes was so complete. The touch he has, and when he has to zip it. Remember how we just went on and on about how hard Joe Milton throws the ball?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Nico throws it really hard too. He's got quite a fastball if you want to put the radar gun on him. He really does. And he uses it wisely. When do you throw it that hard? It's not important to try and knock a helmet off one of your receivers. That doesn't help you. But those touch passes, and as you guys noticed, how much Tennessee threw over the middle. Didn't do that last year. Tennessee trusts Nico, his accuracy, that he can drop it in between defenders in a zone. And the other thing was how judiciously he was in the pocket. You could tell he was going through his reads. You could tell he was picking up secondary and third receivers, and he was doing it quickly. There wasn't a lot of hesitation. So also the other thing was that he seldom ran, but that was a last resort, and that's what you want him doing. He can run, he can
Yeah.
make people miss, but
Caleb, I want you to jump in here. I'll take another one. One time I thought he ran early, but it was really wise because there was an easy 6 yards ahead of him. Most quarterbacks don't process that. They're looking downfield, and there's a feel there where you're like, hey, there's a gap in the offensive line, the defensive line. I can go get me a quick 6 on a first down, and a 2nd and 4 is incredibly manageable. That was just one play that stuck out to my head that to me was a different level of understanding than most quarterbacks have, which I believe is his best asset, more than his arm, more than his physical ability, the way he processes things. Caleb?
Well, I do want to send out congratulations to Joe Milton because he doesn't have the worst overthrow in college football history anymore. I don't know if anybody saw that DJ Ugalele overthrow last night in the red zone against Boston College. It is the worst overthrow in the history of overthrows. A clear touchdown pass on the 5-yard line and just throws it out of the back of the end zone. John, it's funny you bring up over the middle, and that's what stands out with me about Nico too, was that's not just Joe Milton they didn't do that with. They didn't throw over the middle a lot with Hendon Hooker either.
No, they didn't.
Yeah,
Wait. Let me. Am I misremembering? I remember a lot of dig and slant patterns with
those slant patterns, but those kind of intermediate range passes where you're throwing into a zone. I don't remember Tennessee doing as much of that 2 years ago, and maybe it did. I'm just in my mind, they did it more with Nico, but just
they didn't do. I would say this, Caleb, and then you take off. I would say they are totally comfortable doing it with Nico. They were not at all comfortable doing it with Joe Milton. With Hendon Hooker, they were pretty comfortable. Fair?
Yeah, I don't think they were comfortable with Hendon Hooker doing it if they would have passed over the middle, if there was man coverage and the guy was really right up on the defender. That touchdown pass to Dante Thornton, the one that stands out to me, John, is that yes, Dante Thornton had to reach for it. I think Nico made that throw on purpose, where he threw it that way because he wanted to make sure the defensive back could not touch the ball, whatever he did. That I haven't seen a Tennessee quarterback do that in a long, long time.
No, yeah, what you're really pointing out is how advanced Nico is. He's so far advanced in most college quarterbacks, and we're seeing that across the college landscape now. You look at Miller Moss for USC making his 2nd start. He started through 6 touchdown passes against Louisville in the bowl game, and that was no fluke. You watched him against LSU Sunday. He was making those kind of passes. But these guys are doing it early on, and even though they don't have that much experience, that's the thing about Nico. I can't help but reflect on what if he had played in the second half of last season.
Yep.
So
we could definitely go down that. Caleb, go right ahead. I mean, I thought he should have played at times. I was told he had a bit of a bad wrist early in the season, so I thought you got to pass there. But I certainly wonder how the end of the season might have been different, assuming Nico's 100% healthy and had he gone out there.
Well,
all right, so John,
go ahead,
sorry.
Caleb. Go ahead.
I was going to ask you about. No, I didn't realize you want to jump in. You go ahead because I got a totally separate question related to this topic. So.
Okay, well, excuse me, but just one other thing I noticed about Nico. What a perfect fit he is for this offense. Milton wasn't a perfect fit. Milton could be better in a different system. Nico was like, here's the prototypical quarterback for this system. His release is so quick.
So, boom.
And that boom, he just gets rid of the ball. The ball jumps out of his hands. And the difference that makes a receiver, whether it's a running back coming out of the backfield or whether it's a bubble screen to the outside, you make the throw that quick and the ball's so catchable, the running back or the receiver makes the grab and then has time to make a move. As you know, that makes all the difference in whether one of those plays could go for big yardage or is tackled for a 3-yard gain. He gives his receivers a great chance to make a play, and not a lot of quarterbacks do that.
I think that was a statement play call for North Carolina State and anybody else. It was early in the game. It was like, look what we can do. We can play the middle of the field now. And I think that's exactly what happened. John Adams, for those that don't know, he watches college football all weekend. He watches every game, at least every pertinent game. Shedeur Sanders and Nico, if you compared those two, because we got in that discussion earlier. I honestly, right now, think Shedeur's a little bit better because he's a little bit older. I don't know how they'll end up when their careers are complete, but compare those two.
Well, I haven't seen Shedeur that much because I'm focused mainly on SEC. I watched him this past weekend against North Dakota State. I watched him some last year. He's really good, but I would take Nico over him. I mean, in every way, I think Nico's bigger. I think he's got a faster release. Both are very accurate. But yeah, I'm just sold on Nico, and it's not just because I'm in Knoxville.
I think we know that.
Well, yeah. I mean, I just watch all these guys, and I said before the season, I thought the only guy I would take over Nico in the SEC would be Carson Beck. Why? Because Carson Beck has done it in big games. I think he handles pressure well. He's unfazed by how big the moment is, goes about his business very efficiently. I don't think he has great receivers right now, but I think he's really good. But now I would probably take Nico over Carson Beck too.
Wow, that's strong. And I don't know that I would argue that. I might have 5 days ago.